fight fans? So I just recently watched an interview today, and it was either a day ago or a couple days ago. It was with David Benavides' father, and he stated in the interview that he does not feel his son, David Benavides, is going to be able to fight Canelo. Now, if you guys follow boxing, David Benavides is the number one contender for I think it's the WBC strap for Canelo Alvarez. And because he feels with the boxing politics and what's really going on with boxing and such, he feels like it's not going to happen. Well, I agree and disagree. I agree because yes, boxing politics has a tendency to get away of our fights, has made boxing very, very difficult to give us the fights that we really, really want when we want to see them. Maybe it will happen down the line, but it'll be happening 2 or 3 years later, where one of these guys is already lost. They're not quite the same. It's a mess. But we want to see these fights end a certain time, such as we saw what happened with Mayweather and Pacquiao. 6 years way too late, and here we are having this big old debate of what's going to happen with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Even though those both are pound for pound the best, both of them are undefeated, so it would definitely be very fun to see. But nonetheless, another fight that we could have wanted, we could or should have seen a couple years earlier. And why I disagree is because sometimes you are in charge of your own career as well. You don't have to wait for the boxing game. You don't have to wait for the boxing politics. There's a reason why the boxing politics either don't fight or choose. There are certain fights they want to fight. It's either because there's a certain reason to it. See, Canelo went against the super middleweights such as Daniel Jacobs, like a Billy Joe Saunders, like a Caleb Plant. He went against these guys because he wanted to become the undisputed super middleweight champion. That's the only reason. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, he fought some of these nobodies." Well, it's not that the fact that one, they did have somewhat of a name. I'll admit that Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, and maybe Daniel Jacobs, even though Daniel Jacobs has been knocking around for quite some time. But nonetheless, these guys weren't the biggest stars. But what they had is what Canelo wanted. And Canelo wanted to be undisputed. They didn't have a name. They weren't superstar status. They weren't undefeated. They had a belt. But now that Canelo's undisputed, David Benavides doesn't have much to offer him. Yes, he is a dangerous fighter. He is a very talented fighter. But that's basically it. No disrespect to David Benavides. He is young. He's 25 years old, and he's undefeated. And his last fight against, well, I believe it was David Lemieux, very good. But nonetheless, he is not a big box office draw. Outside of the hardcores in boxing, not a lot of people really know who he is. And so looking from Canelo's side of things, what does he have to gain by beating somebody like this right now? We look at, we've seen how Mayweather had done his things. Victor Ortiz, at that time, young, up and coming, strong, and he just had this really good, impressive win over Andre Berto. So he's like, hey, why not? Why not get him while he's young? Why am I gonna wait for him to build this talent, get better, and have him be more of a challenge to me later on? Right now, let's just get him now. Canelo is a different type of person. He doesn't go for just fighters just to fight them. He wants to chase greatness. That's why we continue to see him at light heavyweight, and why there's talks about him even potentially going at cruiserweight and facing Usyk, which is crazy. I really hope he doesn't do it. I really fear for his life when it comes to that, because that's much different weight, much different problems. Get into that later on. So that's where I feel it is a little bit both agree and disagree. What should David Benavides do? I believe he should play that villain. I believe he should play this bad guy. I believe that he should go after Canelo. First go after his opponents. Show him why this is what you're supposed to do. Show him what you should do to Caleb Plant. This is what he should have done. So show him what he should have done with Billy Joe Saunders. Stop these guys. Dominate these guys. And continue to call Canelo out. Continue to make fun of Canelo. Continue to disrespect Canelo. Show up at Canelo's gym. Do whatever it takes at interviews anything and everything it actually takes to really, really bait Canelo into there, to make Canelo say, you know what, I don't want all these guys. I want to shut this guy up. Even though Canelo is a very, very respectful boxer, he is all about respect. He's all about legacy. He's all about that, and he is definitely a legend in today's boxing. He is my greatest of all time right now. He is my pound for pound right now, regardless of the fact that he lost to Bivol. That doesn't mean anything. It does mean something, but it doesn't. Basically, he chased greatness in that, and that's what people, more boxers, need to do. They need to stop playing that safe route and thinking that that's going to make them great. No, you need to chase greatness and you need to go after it. That's what Canelo has done. But as far as David Benavides, it's going to be very difficult for him to get that fight unless he actually chases it. Not wait for it, go chase it, do whatever you got to do. Be the villain in boxing. Be the bad guy in boxing. You know, be so bad that we want to pay to see you get beat. Because literally, that's the only legit way I can see that. Other way is him moving up to light heavyweight, proclaiming all these belts, even beating Bivol, you know, and showing him like, hey, you want to be undisputed? I got all the belts now, Canelo. Come see me. You want to be light heavyweight champ? I got them all. Come see me. That's another way where David Benavides could get that fight. Maybe that's another way he could get it. Or like I said, play that bad guy role. Play that villain. Because that's another good way. Oscar De La Hoya and Ricardo Mayorga had that similarities. We seen Ricardo Mayorga being the bad guy of boxing at that time, disrespecting Oscar De La Hoya, disrespecting his wife, disrespecting everything about Oscar De La Hoya. Until Oscar De La Hoya, you know, he didn't need Ricardo Mayorga. You know, he could have faced anybody else. And Ricardo Mayorga was a dangerous fighter. He wasn't the greatest, but he was very dangerous. You know, he was able to beat Vernon Forrest twice and beat Fernando Vargas. I believe that was twice as well. You know, so he was no punk. He was no punk either. He was a very dangerous fighter. And Oscar De La Hoya mopped the floor with him. He did not need him. But again, Ricardo Mayorga baited him into a fight, and boom, he got that fight. So that's my suggestion to David Benavides. Either move up in light heavyweight or stay in your weight and become that bad guy. What do you guys think David Benavides should do? Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, leave me a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.